Hello guys, today we're going to be doing a video on Forza Horizon 5 using the RTX 3060 Ti. We're running a Ryzen 3700X with 32GB of RAM running at 3200 MHz. Let's review the settings. We're going to be starting it off with 1080p and high, then I'll bump it up to ultra and extreme, and then 1440p and full game. Now the game looks pretty great, but we get a lot of pop in with the bushes as we're driving very fast. I don't know if the ultra and extreme presets will fix that, but I guess we'll see. Once we're in the front of the pack, we jump our frames to 155, 160, while in the back of the pack we were getting 120. The game's overall feel is very great, no stuttering, no lagging. FPS is jumping around, but you don't really feel it on high settings. Frame rate wise, we are down 10 FPS. It's not a bad dip, really. Still holding about 110 FPS. Now our peak at 1080p was 170 frames while we were at the front of the pack. So let's go ahead and see if we can reach that here. Now I just want to add in that the pop-in isn't too bad. It only happens on the ground bushes. The trees and everything in the background doesn't pop in. Either way, I hope at extreme settings we don't even I'm running the default preset. I haven't gone and adjusted anything. But obviously if you go ahead and adjust it, you will get even better performance. So just something to keep in mind. But right now we're getting around 85 FPS in the back of the pack, which is usually harder to run. And as we get closer to the front, we should... Oh, okay, I'm pushing it. Let's see. Do we get pushed up to 90 FPS, or is 80 the best we're gonna get? There we go. 94. This area is obviously less taxing, I guess, since we always get an FPS boost. But the frame rate and the overall feel feels very similar to 1440p and 1080p. Obviously the frame rate isn't as high, but the game is still very smooth. You're not getting too many dips. And I say too many dips, I don't think we had any dips, to be honest, that I have felt. Okay, so lost 30 FPS from going from high to ultra. We're sitting at 120 around here, and we maxed out at 170. Well, this car has really bad gear ratio. Should have probably checked it before actually starting to race with it, but ranges from 90 to 120. We still do get that pop in occasionally, but the reflections look better, the water droplets look better on the car. Okay, looking at the frame rate at the start, looks about the same as 1080p on ultra. Lost about 10 frames, and 1440p ultra, I think we're sitting at 100 FPS, so we lost 20 from there. Man, this track is maxing out every car. I gotta increase the gear ratio again for this car. Seems like FPS is steadying out at around 80, which is what I've seen online with the RTX 2080 Super, which is the same power as the RTX 3060 Ti, or it's around there. So this seems about right. Now over in this area we jump up to 107, so we gained around 20 frames. And it looks like we are pretty much holding around 60 FPS. We do get some dips into the mid 50s, but I mean it's like 5 FPS difference. It's not gonna be too noticeable. I'm just trying to see if I can feel the game stuttering, or so I thought I felt a little bit of lag just then, but maybe I'm just seeing things. Yeah, I feel like we're getting some micro stuttering here now, but I could also be wrong, I don't know. But sometimes I feel like there's some lag. It's like slight, just like a frame of lag. Alright, here we go. 1080p extreme settings. Now we're getting insane reflections from the car. Really good reflections. I'm looking to see if we're getting any more pop-in. These rocks are looking kind of weird because they just appear out of nowhere, but I don't think that's pop-in. Oh yeah, we still do get some pop-in in the grass on the ground, which is disappointing. Frame rate is sitting on the low 90s. Now in the free roam, I was driving around a little bit, and the game was holding 90 to 110 FPS. So it just all depends in what area you're driving in and what's going on the screen at once. So it's obviously going to have a range, but in this race we are holding around 85 FPS, which is really great. I think the Ultra preset is the sweet spot for this card. Unless you're playing at 1080p, then at that point you can just put it at max settings, extreme settings, and it'll still play great. But if you're playing at 1440p or 4K, it's best to keep it at Ultra, since 4K we get 60 FPS, and at 1440p, I think we got, it was 80-ish FPS. 1440p extreme settings. Okay, 70 FPS. Looks like we can definitely hold above 60, so you can absolutely play this at 1440p extreme settings. The game looks insanely good, especially the ground. The ground looks like it's a photo. Looks crazy. I still don't like the pop-in, but I mean, I don't know what they could do. But either way, looks like our FPS is sitting from 70 to 90 FPS. And obviously in free roam, things are much easier to run, so you're going to be seeing even bigger FPS jump from the races or the actual in-game benchmark, which I will be showing at the end of the video. I've tested every single preset. Yeah, let's jump into 4K. Okay, now I know for sure that 4K at extreme settings ran at like 20 FPS at launch. Now it looks like that we're actually getting 45 FPS, 250. I'm sure we're gonna get a big FPS spike once we leave this area. But wow, this is actually playable as well. You can play at 4K extreme, but you won't be getting that 60 FPS experience. This game doesn't have DLSS, unfortunately, so can't use that. But if you don't mind playing at 60 FPS, then this is great still. Obviously, it isn't as responsive as 60. The game does look really good, and we are sitting at 45 FPS still, so we didn't get an FPS boost. But yeah, now we're going to jump into the portion of the video where I go through every single preset and benchmark it, and I'll put the results on the screen, starting now. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you found it useful. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like and a subscription will be highly appreciated. See you next time.